And welcome to Prakash Vidyalaya, where students love to learn. I am Ramanu sir, your history teacher, and today we are going to do chapter 2 of history, from hunting, gathering to growing food. We had learned in history in the first chapter that people were food gatherers, they were hunters. They used to go out hunting and gather food from different parts of the places. They used to move around, and gradually they stopped becoming hunter-gatherers and they became growers. They started cultivating. This is how we learn how people became growers from hunter and gatherers. They became cultivators. Hunter-gatherers hunted and gathered food, required to be alert, quick, and had to have presence of mind, because while gathering food they could be eaten up by some wild animals, attacked by wild animals. Animals also moved in search of food and water. People had to follow these animals. By following their footmarks or pug marks, the hunter-gatherers also used to follow the animals and hunt them for their food. People living near banks moved in search of water during dry seasons. They needed to move in search of food. Once the available animal and plant resource had exhausted, they used to move to another place. And plants which bore fruits in one season, in the next season they never gave this hunter gatherers any fruits. So these people understood that in this particular time of the year or this particular season we get fruits, so let's move to another area where there are some other fruits available. So people may have moved from season to season in search of different kinds of plants. How do we know about these people? We have got lot of information about these people, as I told you in chapter 1, from the excavated places, from those sites where tools have been found. Different kinds of pottery has been found by the excavators and the historians. So stone tools used by people in the past tell us about them. People used these tools for cutting, scraping, chopping wood, killing animals and hunting. Places near rivers and lakes were ideal for living. As I told you in the last chapter, that these places, these river valleys were ideal places for them to live, because they had started their settlements here, because the area was fertile area, plenty of water available. Then comes the stone tools. How people made stone tools to defend themselves, to cut animals, to attack animals, and in order to this they used different techniques to make the stone tools. The Paleolithic is the old stone age and Neolithic means the new stone age. There is a lot of difference between the Paleolithic stone tools and the Neolithic tools. Paleolithic tools were crude, unpolished, whereas the Neolithic tools were polished, crude and in better shapes. Gradually human beings, they came to know about fire. This does not have a strong evidence how people in those days came to know the use of fire. Might be that due to some lightning struck in some area and then learned that this is fire and they kept the fire alive, or by hitting two stones to make stone tools. When they used to hit two stones, might be a spark of fire came out and then they knew the art of making fire. Gradually this changed the lives of human beings. They started settled communities making stone tools, staying in or gathering in one place and hunting animals. This led to a settled or community life among the people. A changing environment, climates brought about a change among the people, because in summer it was different, in rainy season they had to find some shelter or protection from the rain, so started living in caves, and inside the caves there are cave paintings from which we come to know that ancient people had the knack of making beautiful art from these cave paintings. And animals were also reared. I told you people gradually learnt the art of cultivating. Along with cultivation they also learnt animal rearing. Earliest people hunted animals, gathered fruits, made stone tools, painted on cave walls. Either both men and women might have done many things together, or some tasks were done only by men and others by women. Might be that the task or the work was divided among men and women. Then there are different places like Hunski is in South India, famous for early Paleolithic site. Large number of tools were found here. Habitation cum factory sites are in plenty. Limestones were also used for making tools. So from Hunski, when it was dug out or excavated, we come to know a lot about Hunski, that it was a Paleolithic site. I told you what is Paleolithic site? Old Stone Age. So the stone implements, tools were quite crude in nature, which was found here. Not only that, most of the excavated sites, grains were also found, animal bones were found. This gives us the evidence that people used animal as food, or they reared animals and the animal died and that was buried there. The beginning of farming and herding began. People observed places where edible plants grew, how seeds broke off the stalks and fell on the ground and sprouted into new plants. When community life started, people started eating and throwing out the seeds, and gradually they observed that these seeds grew into new sprouts, and they had the idea how to grow new plants, and they protected the plants from birds and animals. Taming of animals began, as I have already told you. Rearing of animals started. Dog was the first animal to be domesticated. This is what the information we are getting, that dogs were the first animals to be domesticated. Gentle animals were protected. A new way of life started for them with the beginning of cultivation or growing of different kinds of plants and trees, along with the rearing of animals. People stayed at one place for a long time to look after these growing plants. This began the settled life of wanderers. Watered the weeds and protected plants from the birds and animals, and these people, these human beings, they started watering the weeds and protected these from the animals. Thought of storing the grain in clay pots or baskets in pits or grounds. Not only they started learning how to grow, they also started learning how to store grains for future use. Finding out about the farmers and herders. It's a long way back, and how these farmers came into use. Scientists study evidence of plants and animals to find out in the settlement sites how these people learned the art and how cultivation began. Burnt grains and bones of animals provide evidence of sites inhabited by farmers. So gradually those things which are found in these excavated sites give us the evidence or proof that people used grains, they learnt cultivation, they stored grains and also reared animals from the animal bones found here. Traces of huts have also been found in Burjahom, suggested development of settled life. So gradually we come to know they had built huts, they were no longer wanderers, they had settled life, they had learnt how to stay in a home or a hut. Hearth proves cooking of food. Hearth, fireplaces were found, and then customs and practices increased. They used polished earthenwares and tools, and they also earthen pots were used for cooking. Cotton was grown, so people knew the art of using cotton for clothes. They also knew the art of weaving. Community life gave them a great twist in their settled life. I hope you all understood this chapter. Thank you.